Another reason why people are not aware of the needs or why they do not want to get connected with their needs, um, which is sort of like connected to some of the things that I talked about earlier. There's like having negative experience when they do, right? And the most extreme form, of course, is like for people who have like gone through traumatic events like war, like armed conflict, or major natural disaster, or some really terrible experience like severe family violence or abuse during childhood. So these like traumatic events, what they do to people is that like your integrity, your wholeness as a human being is often violated. And then there is a very powerful message communicated to you, or there is a very powerful reality out there that basically tells you, okay, your needs are not important. No one cares. No one is going to pay attention. No one is going to help you achieve your needs. It's like basically like even expressing it is like almost irrelevant and meaningless. So if you have like a major negative experience like that, or you have a prolonged history of experiencing things like that, then obviously like you would not be very spontaneous in getting in touch with, okay, what my needs are, what are my preferences, what do I want. You don't even want to go there, and in some cases you don't even dare to go there because like it can be triggering a lot of negative experience. So in our work with people who were considered like trauma victims, when we're trying to help people uh, overcome the long-term effects of those negative experiences and to rebuild their life, one of the key tasks that we perform is to help them reconnect with their needs, which in a way is a very powerful way to reconnect with their humanity. If you realize that I'm a human person with needs, and those needs are legitimate, those needs are natural, I have those needs as a human being, and it is like all right for me to seek uh, gratification of those needs. That to us is an important aspect of recovering from trauma. So we actually have like an interesting concept in SSLD, which I will only describe briefly here. That is the concept of self-efficacy. So we have talked about this concept in other places, but like I'll define it again. So self-efficacy basically refers to your belief that you are capable, you have the ability to achieve what you need and what you want in life, right? Being able to achieve your goals. You believe you are able to do uh, what is needed to achieve your goal. If you believe that, right, you have high self-efficacy. If you do not believe that, or you believe that you do not have the ability to do that, you have low self-efficacy. So high self-efficacy is usually associated with like positive mental health, right, and happiness and all that. So what we are usually dealing with are people who have experienced a lot of negative experience in the past or trauma is that they usually have like low self-efficacy, and they believe they have no control over the environment. Whatever you try, it is not going to work. And the extreme form of that is like what some psychologists labeled as like learned helplessness, which is associated with negativity, depression, and sometimes like self-defeating behavior. So in the SSLD model, we have like multiple strategies of helping people rebuild the like self-efficacy. And usually we do it by helping the person to move on a trajectory of like cumulative positive experience. And we start with small things, right, that you can have control over, and then you will practice those like in an incremental manner, and then step by step you building a collection or positive experience in which you're able to do what you set out to do. And then obviously people will like run up against like failures, mistakes, or unsuccessful attempts or trials. We will always help them to reframe positively. We also do expectation management so that people do not get like defeated and feel disappointed. We try to protect them from further frustration and disappointment. And very often people who have been like in a long like post-traumatic kind of functioning, they experience strong like emotional barriers to trying something new. It can be fear, it can be like negativity, with a sense of shame and guilt, or helplessness. What we do is like we acknowledge those negative emotions and help people learn specific strategies to cope with them. Right? Sometimes it can be like physical exercise, like breathing. Like I know that when you walk into that situation, you will experience like intense fear or intense anxiety, and that is natural. And one of the things you can do is maybe just like stand there, close your eyes, count to 10, or take a few deep breaths, and see if that helps you. If not, you do not push yourself to continue. You can try it like some other time. So we get people to like go through that in a step-by-step manner, so that they feel empowered by every step that they take. One extreme examples that I've worked with here in Canada actually is one of my first psychotherapy cases. It's a woman with like a long history of like severe mental illness, and also she also had an addiction issue. And I remember like when she first saw me, she said like she used to spend like a few hours on her bed in the morning before waking up, and then like she would go to the washroom, and then she would spend a few hours there, and then half of the day was over, and then she felt frustrated, defeated, and angry at herself, and all those negative feelings. So one of the things that she said during her first meeting with me is that like I can't even lift my finger, right? And that was the assignment that I gave her. I said, sure, like I know how tough life is, like I feel so helpless because everything you tried, it didn't work, and like in the morning, even getting up like off bed is such a huge challenge. Maybe we should start with something that you can do. That is like lifting your finger. So like I actually started with lifting her finger, and then like lifting more than one finger, doing what we call like the piano movement. And then after that, I asked her, like that was actually 2 weeks later, I was asking her to like move her toes, like she was like moving her fingers and the piano movement. And soon enough, like within like actually 4 weeks, she was able to get off bed like in almost no time. Like she just, and then she also found that she was like spending less time in the washroom. And I was very encouraged by this case because a while later she was able to start part-time work at the local grocery store. So you can see that like the person, she obviously had like a very negative traumatic experiences in her past, but we were able to get her to improve her self-efficacy, right, step by step, to the extent that she'll be later able to articulate her needs, right? So I want to feel independent. I want to feel useful. So I think I needed the job, right? So that was like the cumulative steps that we built with like just lifting your fingers. So for us, if someone has a huge challenge, we usually break those steps down to something that the person can manage, right? And then we'll build the self-efficacy. Once you get on that road, you will be able to get you'll be more capable to get in touch with your needs, and you're more capable in articulating them, and then in achieving them. realizing your goals. And that is like what the whole idea of self-advocacy is about.